Hello, welcome back to school. This is going to be the second part of however many parts this takes to get through this. Um, the last video in this series talked about what the staff was. This video is going to talk about the pitch names and the different cleves that are used. So again, going back to my little handout that I've typed up here. So we already covered that the staff is 5 horizontal lines, which is used to write musical symbols on. 2 staves together, 2 staves, I should say. 2 staves create what is known as a grand staff. That's usually uses a brace and a vertical line that connects the two. A lot of times it's used for organ and keyboard music. So that's about the staff. Next, notes. Notes are symbols that denote the length of a pitch. There is a terms for the parts of a note. Let me draw a couple examples. So the most common type is this one. And this is called a quaver. No, it's a crotchet. This is a crotchet or a quarter note. This is very common. We're going to discuss more about these in the next big section. But basically, the anatomy of a note, let me actually draw this really big. All notes will have what is called a head. They will also have what is called a stem. Oops. And the stem can go up or down. It can be written like this, but the most important thing is when the stem goes down, it's on the left side of the head. When the stem goes up, it's on the right side of the head. The stem duration does not affect how a note is sung or played, but merely how it looks on the page to avoid notes clashing into each other. The third part of a music note is this little guy. I've heard it called by a bunch of different names. I've heard it called by a flag. I've heard it, that's a horrible G. I've heard it called by a tail. I've also seen it written as a hook in older textbooks. And so that is basically the anatomy of a note. Now there's also another element. If I were to take a note, if I were to take 2 and put this on it, this is called a beam. This is when you need to put 2 of these together that's how that's done, and that's called a beam. And you can add as many beams or tails or hooks as you need on these. Now the head is going to be the item that you're going to look at on the staff, because the head is going to tell you which pitch on the staff you need to play or sing. Okay, so I hope you wrote all that down. Which I would say, if you're watching this, like, as they say, whatever the teacher writes on the board, write it down in your notebook. Okay, so that basically covers what a note is. And again, we will talk more about notes when we get into the second part of this series. Okay, next you have the pitch. Now the pitch is the auditory sound that is heard. It is the relative height or depth of a specific sound. Example, I'm going to walk away for a little bit. If I were to play two pitches on here, let's say this one and this one. The second pitch would be higher than the first pitch. If I played this note and this note, the second pitch would be lower than the first one. So that's basically what pitch is. It's the thing, the sound that your ear is picking up. Okay, now we get into the nitty-gritty. The clef. The clef is a symbol at the beginning of a staff that denotes the pitches on that staff. For the lines and the spaces. Okay. So basically the clef is a fancy symbol that is placed at the beginning of each line of music. Let me pull off a book off the shelf. Here's a music reading book, music sight singing book. If you look in all these examples, it's got these little symbols, and these are all the clef that denotes how this particular music is to be read. And here's another example. So we are going to talk about these two clefs right now. The word clef comes from a Latin word which means the key. If you do not know the clef of what you're reading, you will not be able to read that line of music. Oops. I need to grab my white chalk. Example. 1, 2, 3. Let's make that a little bit. This is not going to be. What I should do is get one of those like 5-line staff drawing things. Music classrooms have them all the time. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not going for Gregorian. Okay, so I'm going to draw a clef. Okay. Not the greatest, but it's a clef. if you do not know how to read this clef, you will not be able to read some of Bach's original music, because he used these in his choir music. Basically, this little middle point here denotes where the pitch do is, or C. So this is why I say that the clef is the key. If you don't know how to read this, everything on this staff is going to be locked to you because you don't know how to read the clef. Okay, so hopefully we will take away some of that mystery. I don't plan on going into the funny, more obscure clefs, but they are important. But for now, we're just going to look at the upper clef, which is called the treble clef. Now, if you noticed, I have the second line drawn in a different color. Don't worry about this staff right now. In fact, let's erase it. So, the second line is in a different color. The reason why this line is in a different color is because this line denotes where the clef line, where the clef key is going to encompass. Put my finger out of the way. So, that is a very beautiful treble clef. This is called the treble clef. If anyone is wondering. Now, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 Fs. I think it's 1 F, but I don't know. I haven't wrote the word in forever. It is also called the violin clef. Back in the day, this is a clef violins used. It is also called the sol clef because it denotes the pitch sol. It is also called the G clef because it denotes the pitch G. So, musical, the pitches are named of 3 ways. They're named with, I got a cat mouse under here. Oh, I thought I heard something. Maybe it's basket. 3 ways of naming pitches is solfege or solfeggio, which uses do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, and ti. Obviously, you'd have do for the. And they're also called by letters. That would be C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. There's also a third, which are called scale degrees or numbers. And basically it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So these are your 3 main ways of naming these pitches. For now, I'm just going to do solfege and the letter names, but note that there is this method here. So we know that this is the treble clef. It is the violin clef. It is the sol clef. It is also the G clef. And this line that I marked out is the G or the sol. So we could draw a head on this line and call it sol, or the pitch G. If you know this, you will be in the right direction of learning stuff. Now, the alphabet for music, once you get to the letter G, you go back and you repeat at the letter A. And with solfege, obviously you're at sol. There's 3 other pitches, so yeah. Okay, so the next pitch is going to be La, and in alphabetic, this would be the letter A. So we have sol, la, and if we were to play them, it would sound like this. Those would be the 2 pitches. It's a horrible sound. We'll just leave it on piano. So those are the 2 pitches that I just wrote here on the board. We can sing them. Sol, la. Horrible pitch, but yeah. Sol, la. So that's that. The next one, we draw a note. This is going to be called T. Alphabetically, this would be called B. Now I'm going to erase all of these because we are going to need more space to write our notes. So then after T, so we have sol, la, ti. Just gonna draw this all the way over. Oops. Need my little red chalk for this one. Okay. Back to the white chalk. All right. So we have sol, la, sol, sol, la, ti. And the next one is going to be the pitch do. In alphabetic letters, that's going to be the pitch C. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Seems to be how I assumed it grew, right on the big side. Okay, so sol, la, ti, do. And then continuing up, do, re, mi, fa. And now take us up to the top line. So you got do. This one is re or di, mi. Keep going up. And alphabetically, this would be the pitch E, mi, fa. And we are at the top of the staff. I can write this out. And alphabetically, this is the letter F. So, if we were to sing this, sol, sol, la, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa. Now we have a couple pitches. This line, or the space in this line, we have not yet learned. Going backwards, we have sol. Coming down is how you'd read these lower lines. So this would be fa here on this line. And again, this would be the pitch F. Extend these a little bit. Extend my sole. And then this very bottom line would be the pitch Mi again, and this would be alphabetic letter E. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, fa, fa. I can't jump octaves. But basically this is all the letters for the treble clef. I could probably play it better than I can sing it. So starting on the do, or starting on the G, that's it. That's all the notes on the board. So this is basically the treble clef. Screenshot it, kind of learn it. Something you could do is just go on the internet and find just random pieces of music. Look at the staff, make sure that it has the G clef, and try to name the pitches on that staff. For example, if I took out all these letters, I hope you have all this written down, because I'm erasing everything. If I took out all those letters and let's say I pointed to this note here, would you be able to tell me what that note is? If I pointed to this note, would you be able to tell me what this note is? What about this far note down here? Would you be able to tell me what that is? These are like really basic stuff, and just like me learning the arithmetic tables, this is the fundamentals of music. And just like I wouldn't be able to advance in mathematics if I don't know the arithmetic tables, if the staff on the lines and spaces, if this letters and pitches are not learned, they're not, whoever is, trying to read music, they're not going to be able to read music. So that concludes this part of this thing. This is just covering the treble clef. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say. That went a little bit longer than I wanted it to. Okay, so I'm not finding anything else on here. I do want to go through the bass clef, but we will do that in the next video. So please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the notification bell for all notifications.